and welcome to an EUSDS class in elementary Charleston. This class was planned to take place face-to-face towards the end of the semester when we were starting to introduce social distancing rules because of the COVID-19 crisis and had decided to avoid partner dancing and teach some single jazz step type dancing, and Charleston seemed to be a perfect example for us. Alas, the lockdown rules happened even faster than we feared they would, so that class never took place, which is why I'm now giving it in a video format. The class is meant for people who've never danced the Charleston before, so if you are used to dancing 20s Charleston, you may find that the pace of this is irritatingly slow and that I'm spending far too much time explaining what's obvious. But remember what it was like when you were a complete beginner, and things like ankle flaps are not that obvious. Okay, I'll walk along the corridor and start the class. Hello. So I'm going to begin this with just the very, very basic movements of the Charleston without worrying about any decorations like ankle flaps at the moment. I'll start showing it facing you, but then I'll turn my back because it's easier to follow somebody when you're dancing in the same sense that they are. So I've got my weight on my left foot at the moment, and I'm going to move my right foot forward to go tap, back, tap, forward. So it's tap the right. Tap means don't commit the weight. We're not going for a loud tap, I'm just using the word tap to mean don't commit the weight. Step back where it was, changing weight. Tap the left one back, and then step again. So it becomes tap, step, tap, step. If you let your arms swing naturally, you can let your arms swing forward and backwards or side to side, which gives a more 20s look. So I'm going to turn round and you can perhaps follow along. So we're going to go, and I'll take my first tap on 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, so what we'll do is put some music on now. Because this class was scheduled to be at a rather worrying time, I'd written it around a piece by Harry Roy and the Bat Club, which is performed in 1931 and is mostly known as the Cat Song. Although if you want to look it up, and it is on Google, it is on YouTube, there are also versions of it which are catalogued by the most obvious line of the song. Anyway, vocals only come in a little bit later. I'm mentioning that it's the Cat Song because this will start with cat noises, which I'm going to ignore. We'll start with the main verse. Six, 7, 8, tap, step, tap, step, tap, step, tap, step, tap, step. Just do this along. Tap, step, tap, step, tap, step, tap, step. Okay. If you are having, sorry, I have to duck down a little bit for the camera angle to work. If you're having any problem with that, go back, do it again, go back, do it again until you're absolutely happy. Okay, so one of the features of 1920s Charleston is ankle flaps. So instead of doing this straight, you're used to seeing people doing this sort of thing with their ankles as they're doing this. So the ankle flaps we can learn separately, and then we can put them together with the main step. So the ankle flaps, if you just put the weight on the front of your foot for the moment, and just move your heels out, you'll have to have fairly slippery shoes to do this, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, like this. That's the basis of the ankle flap, that's all that's going on. And it will happen so that the heels are in on the main beat. So if I count, we'll do an out on the 8. So it will be 5, 6, 7, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so forth. In principle, you ought to do these equally on both feet. One of my ankles is slightly dodgy, so I won't get this exactly symmetrical because I cannot anymore, but hopefully it's close enough for the teaching. Okay, so what we're now going to do, and again, practice that if you need to, is turn this into something called a sugarfoot walk. So the sugarfoot walk is, at its basis, it's just walking forward. It's just going to go right, left, and so on. But every time we do that, as we pick up a foot, so on the 8, for example, we're going to move the ankles out and then in when we put the foot down. Out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. It's difficult this slowly. So again, it would be 5, 6, 7, out, in, 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 out, in. So again, practice doing that with me again. 5, 6, 7, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Good. So once you can do that, and it may take a while doing that, it won't, you know, for some people it doesn't come immediately, that's fine. Once you do that, then we're going to build that into the Charleston rhythm. So I'm going to move forward a little bit so you can see my feet better, although you probably won't see all of my head. And that will mean that we're going to go out, tap on the in, out, step with it on the in, out, tap on the next one, on the next in, out, step on the next in. So the whole thing is going to be, I'll call it both ways, it's going to be out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, tap, out, step, step, tap, step, tap, step. Okay, that is something that you will need to practice, probably, and practice it just calling it, and maybe go for a sugarfoot walk and then start that, so you will be going and then, and actually it is a perfectly sensible 20th Charleston variation just to go into the sugarfoot walk before you come back to Charleston. So you're learning something new, trying that anyway. Assuming you've had a chance to practice that just quite at your own pace, let's now do it together with music. Six, 7, 8. Good. Okay. So we're going to do that. So what I'm really teaching here is a set of moves that you can use for your own improvised Charleston. Of course, it was an improvised dance. There wasn't a fixed choreography. But what I'm going to do at this point is use a choreography just so that we have a skeleton on which we can practice the moves. So what we're going to do is to do that little sequence 3 times, so 3 of those basic Charlestons, that's what we'll call them, basic Charlestons. And then we're going to stop, and we're just going to rotate our legs. So I'll do the last Charleston and then show you this. So it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, tap, step, rotate your leg. Okay? So it's very simple. You're just taking your right foot off the ground and you're drawing a circle in the air with it. We'll add a decoration in a moment. But you're just, imagine drawing a circle in the air with your heel. So again, facing you, we have tap, step, circle. And you can do this at whatever pace you want to. You can do it slowly, you can do it with every beat. It depends on your energy, your balance, how fast the music is, what you're hearing in it. Leaving that in its current simple form, let's just go through that first verse again, from the top. Apologies for the scratches in the recording, this is a genuine 31 record. 6, 7, 8. Again. Good. Now, you probably felt for yourselves that there was something missing there. It all suddenly went dead. So if you want to, keep the flaps going on the standing figure as you're doing this. So you'd be going, instead of just doing this with your foot, you'd be keeping the flapping going on the standing leg. I find if I'm learning something like this, one of the easiest ways to do it is to keep a count going about the out, in, out, in. I will try to demonstrate, in my head I mean. I'll try to demonstrate that, but as those who learn from me know, I can't talk and dance at the same time, so we will probably lose all coordination if I try that, but here goes. So from the last basic, we'd be going in, out, 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 in. Okay, so that's that first verse, and we're going to do that entire thing twice, as we did with the music. So let's just go through once more with music. Good, and you'll see I tried that both ways. First time I kept the ankle flaps going, although I did lose my balance on my weak ankle. And the second time I kept it still, and of course you have that choice. Music of the Charleston era, just like music of the swing era, very commonly follows a structure of a verse, a repeat of the verse, a verse with a rather different feel, and then a verse that goes back to the original feel. And this is no different. So because we're about to go on to that third verse, the one that has a different feel, we're going to do something different. And we're going to introduce two new moves for this. One of them, of course, my looking down is simply looking at notes to remind myself. Again, those of you who learn from me face to face will know I have the world's worst memory. Is a kick pushes. So what we're going to do, it's facing you at first, is to be going kick and kick down, kick and kick, kick and kick, kick and kick. Again, if you want to, you can keep flapping going on the standing leg if you want to do this. For the sake of my floor, I'm probably going not to do a whole lot of unnecessary flapping on standing legs, but you can, and it does look rather nice if you do. So, with my weight on the left, sorry, I'll turn my back to you. With my weight on the left foot, I'm going to kick my right foot forward and also with both hands push, as if I'm pushing something or somebody away. In, push, down as the hands come in, and then push, in, push, down. And we're going to do that whole thing twice, so it will be 5, 6, 7, 8, push, in, push, down, push, in, push, push, in, push, down, push, in, push. If you want to, you can go backwards when you're doing this, as if you're pushing yourself back. So it can be... I'm not going to do that because there's too tight a range over which this camera will actually detect my feet before they get cut off by the bottom of the screen. But you can do that. So that's the first. We're going to do all of that twice. Then we're going to do a related move that instead of kicking forwards, we're going to bring the knee up and push it down. So it's going so the push down is going to be both hands as if we're pushing the leg down, almost as if it's misbehaving and coming up and we're pushing it back down, as if we didn't want it to come up. So that's going to be right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. So the whole verse is going to go, so it's going to be 2/8 of the kicks and 2/8 of the pushes. The whole verse is going to go kick and kick, kick and kick, kick and kick, kick and kick, push, 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 heel, knee, knee, knee. And then we're going to go back into our basic, because the music will go back. But we will end our last basic with one new move that I'll show you now. It's a famous 20s Charleston move, and it looks like this. So all that's happening, the legs, you're standing with your feet, normal width apart, hip width apart, bent legs. The legs are simply going out, in, in. At whatever reasonable speed you want to. So you can do this on every beat, or you can do it very slowly. So that's what the legs are doing. The arms are effectively doing something at half the speed. So you have your arms, normally no crossing, one on each knee or front of thigh. As your legs come together, cross your arms so that they're crossed when your legs come apart again. As they come together, uncross them so that your arms are crossing and uncrossing, creating an illusion that your legs are doing so as well, which is of course impossible, which is part of the humour in this. I won't bother demonstrating that with my back to you because really you see less rather than more. So I think we can now go from the top all the way through that section. From the basic Charleston. Circle, kicks, left, left, right, right, left, left, knees. Basic. Hands on knees. Good. Practice that as many times as you want to until it feels, well, I was going to say normal. In a sense, there's nothing normal about a 1920s Charleston, but until it feels comfortable. Okay, that you may have noticed, as we stopped that and as I walked away, you may have noticed the music had a little bridge sequence. So it didn't immediately go back to its normal theme. And for 16 beats, it's going to go off on a tangent. In that bridge, so are we. Usually, dancers will listen to the music and they'll try to make the style and the sense of their dancing match the sense of what's going on. So if a band decides to put in a bridge theme that doesn't match verses exactly, then so will the dancers. So our bridge theme is going to use a move called the itch. It's not really a move. All you have to do is imagine that you suddenly have an itch that you absolutely have to scratch. Okay, so every 2 beats, probably, for very fast music you may want to make it every 4, you're going to contort yourself in some ridiculous way as if managing to scratch something or swat some. Okay, maybe in Scotland we should call this the midgie move, because effectively you're just kind of swatting midges wherever they're biting you. So we're going to do that, which is obviously, it's unchoreographed. The only rule really is you only swap something on your own body. But we're going to do that for 16 beats, which is 2/8. And then we're going to go on to the next verse. So I think we'll just go from the top and we'll add the itches before I go on to the next verse. Okay, so we'll run that up to and including the itches. Starting with the basic Charleston. 6, 7, 8. With the kicks, knees, basic, hands on knees coming up, then you okay. So that's added the itches in. And the whole thing is now going to start, essentially the same structure of music is going to start again, but this time with words. So this time is a simplified version of a 20s move called scissors, and we'll call it heels. So facing you, I'm just going to put my heel out for 4 beats. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So out for 3 beats, step there for 3 beats, step out and out. Obviously, if you do this on a crowded dance floor, be careful not to trip anybody up with this. And if you want to, you can be bow-legged on the standing leg if you want to. So it could be like that and that, so that you have this kind of bow-legged look on. You have a bow-legged look on the standing leg as well as that heel out. I'm a little bit constrained here. There's a wall here and there's a wall here, so I'm going to have to make these really quite small. As I demonstrate them. Sorry about that. You can make them big and sideways, but if I come forwards where I'm not constrained, you can't actually see my feet. It's just a problem about the camera and the only part of my house that's got wooden floors. So that's what we're going to do at the beginning of that verse. We're going to do that 3 times. So we'll be going, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For the last part of this verse, we're just going to hop around. So move all of your weight on the left foot, and you're just going to go hop, 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 ready to come into something else. So as you hop, the right foot can kind of, as you're hopping on the left, the right foot can swing to give a little bit more style. So it'll be hop, 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 hop. And then the right foot will be free, for example, to go into another Charleston if that's what we're going to do. Actually what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this entire verse. Excuse me, I'm looking at my notes again. Entire verse except for the end. So we're going to be going heels, 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 hop, 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 and heels, 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 and cross your right foot over your left as much as it possibly can, and then unwind. So you've crossed to kind of wind yourself up, then turn this way to unwind yourself back to where you were. You will find you can go about 3/4 of the way with your feet where they are, and then the one you need to do, you need to let one of them slip slightly to make the last quarter of the turn. So, I think we should put all of that together. So we have the whole beginning part, the itch, the 2 verses that are dominated by heels. The first one finishes with the hop around, the second one finishes with this cross that we've just done. Basic Charleston then. Again. The circle again. The kicks. Knees. Basic. Hands on knees coming up. Itch. Heels. Hop around coming up. Cross coming up. Okay. So, I don't know how much attention you're paying to Harry Roy's lyrics, but remember the sounds at the beginning made very clear this is a cat song. So, what we're now going to do is a leaning, a sort of slightly comedy form of the Charleston, and this works better without ankle flaps. So, if we go back to our very beginning when we went tap, step, step, you notice my body, I haven't really talked about this, but my body's just stayed upright all the way through this. I mean, there's a very, very, very slight forward lean, as with most jazz dances. But what we're going to do this time is, as I tap forward, I'm going to lean backwards as if I'm going to reach as far forward as possible. Upright for step. As I tap behind, I'm going to lean right forward, almost as if trying to pick something up off the floor. That would be too much, you wouldn't rebalance from that, but a kind of, or starting a race position. So the whole thing will go lean and lean, lean and lean. I'll turn my back to you and we can do it together. 5, 6, 7, 8. Lean and lean, lean and lean. Okay, there's no fancy footwork, it's just a case of leaning. We're going to do one of those, and then we're going to run on the spot. So that literally is just going to be run, 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 run. You can make it be going running behind, which is a more normal 20s way of doing it, as if you're kind of sprinting, but if you want to, you can make it very, don't bounce your body, but you can make it very sort of doing things on the spot. Any variation, it's your dance. So our whole pattern is going to be the leaning Charleston, the running Charleston, the leaning Charleston, and the running Charleston for that B theme. So the whole thing, if I turn my back to you, and we can do this together maybe, is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, lean, and, 5, 6, 7, 8, lean, 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 up. Sorry, I'm forgetting I told you I can't talk and dance at the same time. It's one set of leaning Charlestons, then running. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then at the end of that, we're going to go all the way back to our basic Charleston of verse 1. We're going to do 3 of them. Then we're going to cross, just as we learnt at the end of the last but one verse, and come round. And then I'm going to leave the music playing for a while, so that it's well, I think it's out of copyright. It's 1931. I don't actually know when Harry Roy died. But I'm going to leave the scene, but I'm going to let the music keep playing. And the reason I'm going to do that is that Charleston is an improvised dance. And what it would be fun to do would be for you to carry on after the end of the little choreography that I'm doing. Carry on dancing yourself. Put the things that we've just been doing in any order you want to, just to practice them, and maybe start inventing things of your own. Because it's an inventive, fun, playful dance. Of course, it's 20s Charleston, and it is the 20s again. So, you know, we should make it a mission to affect the world of Charleston. So, I'm going to go from the top, if I remember all of this, and again there is the warning that I have a most terrible memory and very unlikely to. You just saw me moving my crib sheet to where I have a chance of reading it. And I will then let the music play right, well, more or less to the end. Please join me. So we're going to start with our basic. And we're going to do our pushaways in a minute. Knees. Basic. To hands on knees. Itch. Heels. Hop. Heels. Unwind. Leany. Front. Unwind. You're on your own. Well, I hope you enjoyed that taste of Charleston. Hope you have fun practicing it. I hope you enjoyed that taste of early 1930s British cabaret music. And any time that you hear somebody of your grandparents' or great-grandparents' era complaining about innuendo in modern music, you will have a wonderful example for any counter-arguments. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward very much to be teaching you in person again as soon as circumstances allow. Goodbye.